Hi everyone. In this video and coming videos, we are going to talk about Java from the very beginning. In life and in problem solving, clarity often begins with three powerful questions. What, why and how. So let's apply this approach to Java as well as we are learning from the basic. First, we'll explore what Java is and second, why Java even though we have other programming languages and finally, how it works. Let's start with the first question. What is Java? Back in the early 1990s, James Gosling and his team were decided to work on a project which can control electronic devices remotely. So, James Gosling and his team sat together and thought about which programming language would be best to control electronic devices. So, and in the end, they've decided to create a new one. And that's how Java was born. Now a question comes up. Why Java? We already had languages like C, C++ back then. It's just like when mobile phones came into picture, we already had landline phones, right? But landline had limitations. You couldn't carry them or talk from anywhere. In the same way, C, C++ were powerful, but they had a big drawback which doesn't suit our requirement, which is they were not platform independent. Now let's talk about what is platform dependent and what is platform independent. To run any program, we have two steps. The first one is compilation and the second one is execution. In compilation step, the code which we've written will be converted into binary because we all know the computer can only understand zeros and ones. And in execution step is when the computer actually runs that code and performs the task. Now let's see how these two steps, compilation and execution, are related to platform dependency. After compilation in C or C++, we get a binary file, usually with a .obj or .exe extension. So if we take that obj file and if we try to run that file on different system or with different processor, it won't work. That's because the compiled code is tightly linked to the original system. It's molded to that environment. This is what we called as platform dependent. For example, it's like you make a poha in your kitchen and give it to your friend. But their stove setup is different. So they cannot heat it properly, right? Now you have to give them the raw poha, onions or other ingredients and say, okay, you make it yourself from the very beginning. But as a developers, we give only compiled file to the end users, not the actual source code. But in C and C++, if the user system is different, they may need the source code to compile it themselves, then only it works on their system. But James Gosling and his team doesn't want this. They wanted a language that's like a water. It should flow and fit into any platform. Their goal was to create a language where we as developers can just give the compiled code and it should work on any system without needing to recompile it again. That's how they came up with Java. In Java, after compilation, we don't get .obj file like C or C++. Instead, we get .class file which contains special symbols instead of zeros and ones. These special symbols are this class file only JVM can understand. So, if we have JVM installed on any system, Windows, Linux or Mac, we can take this compiled class file and we can execute that class file directly. There's no need to compile that code again. Just like in the poha example I gave before, Java is like ordering food through Zomato. You don't have to cook anything. The restaurant already prepared it. You just heat and eat. Here the restaurant is the developer, the food is the bytecode, and your kitchen, whether it is in Bangalore or Manali or anywhere, is the JVM. As long as you have Zomato delivery and a way to heat it, you are good to go. No extra effort. That's how Java works too. We write and compile the code once and it runs on any system that has JVM. That's why Java is known as compile once and run anywhere. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next. If Java makes you feel like poha, hit that like button.